Welcome back, guys, to my podcast, Triggered. Today's triggering topics of today are going to be about body dysmorphia and plastic surgery, my own personal journey, and where do we find that line where we're crossing over into like addiction with plastic surgery in general and also in society. So I hope this will be an interesting topic for today. So welcome back, everyone. So where do I begin? I'm just going to go with my plastic surgery journey myself and kind of how my body has transformed over the years and what has led to different phases of my life. Basically, when I was living in Connecticut, right around the age of 24, was it 24 or 25? I had my first plastic surgery. I had a breast augmentation. I pretty much, like I've told you guys in the past, I had a very like A-frame, like straight up and down frame, not really big hips, not super tiny waist, not just like more of an athletic build. And I think I wanted to look a little more feminine. So I got this plastic surgery working at the hospital as a nurse at the time. And I really felt like I wanted to look more feminine in my clothes, but I didn't really want anyone to notice, which is kind of a strange outcome. So I went from like an A cup to a C cup. And I think the next plastic surgery I ended up getting was going from a C cup to a double D. So I had the first plastic surgery, breast augmentation. I had like saline. The second one, I had decided to go with the gummies to go a little bit bigger because they weren't that noticeable to me. And I ended up going with a double D. I did feel a lot of self-confidence after both surgeries. I remember feeling like very feminine, very like my self-esteem was boosting. I remember loving like how my clothes fit. I remember feeling a lot more confident working out because when I lost weight, I wouldn't just lose it right off my chest like a lot of women do. So that was definitely a huge self-esteem boost. And then after that, what would be my next surgery? I think I had my final breast augmentation surgery was a revision. After working out a lot, I did like CrossFit, I did muscle ups, I did like a lot of training of my chest. So I did like chest press, push-ups, muscle ups, and I ended up contracting the muscle. So when I had the breast augmentation done, where it was done under the muscle, and then you do a lot of like chest workouts, it could actually move the pocket, which has ended up what happening. So the pocket moved to the side, and I needed a revision. So my third breast augmentation surgery, I think it's been a few years now. I ended up going from, I didn't go that much higher. It's like I remained like, I think I went from like a 450 cc to like 550 cc, and they fixed the pocket, and I had gummies. So I've had 3 breast augmentation surgeries, which I will say for the most part were not very traumatizing. It was kind of in and out, single day surgery. I think they give you propofol, like a light sedation. Next thing you know, you wake up, you're in a wheelchair, and everything's all done an hour later. So it's pretty non-invasive, not too bad if you haven't had surgery like that before. But you know, this was my surgery, the start of my surgery journey, and I really didn't think I was going to be wanting that many more surgeries, to be honest. I thought maybe one day I might want surgery after I have kids or something like that. But I've kind of just watched the trends in society nowadays. And now that I'm a mother, I'm also kind of like, okay, where is all this guy going? In my generation alone, you know, I think I looked at the statistic. What is the statistic? There's like over 365,000 breast augmentations a year, where if you just go back like to our mom's generation, there was like not that many at all. It's like almost everyone you know at least a handful of people that have their boobs done. Let's be real. And I'm like, okay, that was a trend. And now the new trend is like BBLs and butt implants and fat injections, mommy makeovers and tummy tucks. And I'm just like, okay, there is a lot of new ways to like cut up our bodies. Like, let's be real. There's a lot of things you can do to our bodies and a lot of options. And it's a little overwhelming at times. You know, being in the public eye, I see a lot of girls getting a lot of things done, and the results look stunning. I'm not going to lie. The plastic surgeons are really killing it. They're clearly a lot of them are very skilled at what they do. But I'm also okay, how do we know too far is too much? Like, when are we crossing over into like addictive boundary? When are we crossing over to like constantly pushing more and more and more? Got to change every little flaw in our body. So I've always kind of just been watching the trends and try to figure out where I stand on everything. And I'll tell you guys, when I moved to LA, so I moved to LA when I was right around 28, 29. And I moved into that scene, and I will say the LA scene, probably similar to maybe like Miami or something like that, where there's a lot of models, there's a lot of plastic surgery options, there's a lot of plastic surgeons, there's a lot of like fillers and injections and just a lot of body modification in general. And when I moved there, I was relatively young, 28, 29, probably not at an age that you really need to do very much at all to like your face or body. I was in peak shape in my fitness modeling career, but what I noticed right away is that the entire society of this little group of people were constantly wanting more and more and more. I remember I was like, sometimes I reach out to a doctor about like, oh, let me see if I can get like a laser facial or something like that. And I instantly got like bombarded with so many plastic surgeons reaching out to me saying, oh, you should get these fillers. You need fillers in your face. You need fillers in your jaw. You need more fillers in your lips. You need like this done and that done. And I just remember like thinking like, damn, am I really like that fucked up? Like I don't look good enough. Like I moved here and I remember moving to LA and I was just like, I didn't really feel like I needed anything done. But as soon as I moved to that area, everyone around me, the whole culture was just like more and more and more. Everyone's getting fillers. People are getting fillers at like age 24 and 25 and, nose jobs, everything, anything you could think of. And that was my first like, hello, wake up call of like, okay, don't just succumb to whatever the society is telling you to do. Don't just succumb to what culture is telling you to do. And I remember being bombarded at first, and I was very tempted. And I was tempted because I'm getting offers for free procedures like left and right for years. Like, we'll give you fillers for free. We'll give you this under eye for free. We'll do you laser hair removal and laser facials. And it's very, very tempting because you're like, that's free money. This is free services to make myself look better. So at first I like jumped on the bandwagon and I'm like doing all the things and I'm like loving all the services. And I was very grateful. But then I was like, wait a minute, like I'm actually kind of like on this like addictive train, like where I want more and more and more. And I actually did. I would seek out fillers more than I needed. I think even like a few people even said on my Instagram, like, Lauren, your cheeks are like a little too overfilled, or your under eyes look like this and that with your lip fillers. And I was like, you know what? At first it was insulting. And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe I am doing too much. Like maybe I am getting a little crazy and caught up in this. So, cause I remember seeing other people and I was like, dang, this girl really she got these fillers, but she really doesn't, in my opinion, need it. Her face is beautiful. She looks gorgeous. Not saying that people necessarily need this. It's usually people seek things out because they want to improve a flaw on them, or maybe they want to like enhance something and improve their self-esteem, improve their appearance. And I get that, but I still always kind of try to look at things like in life of, okay, there's always ways to improve, but then there's always like a boundary you can cross where you're no longer balanced. So I was trying to figure that out for myself. And okay, this brings me to like some of my triggering topics for today. So I basically had the breast augmentation surgery, guys, but I will not... I would be lying if I wasn't going to say that I haven't been tempted to research and do like consults for this whole butt injection phase, like this whole trend to like have a big, huge, shapely ass. Like everyone just wants this bigger, better, rounder, puffier. Like it's all over the internet. It's all over Instagram. It's like the new trend is to have like the most perfectly injected ass, and it's what gets girls. It seems like at some point it's like what gets girls contracts, like they get sponsorships, they're getting fashion deals. The better your body is looking, and the more crazy your proportions are. And not all of us are born with these insanely crazy proportions. So it's like, okay, easy temptation. A doctor can fix me. A doctor can literally just fix me. But I don't know, man. Like, at what point are we kind of like over fixing ourselves? At what point are we not loving parts of ourselves that need to be loved? What point are we not like doing damage to our own self-esteem by saying we need more and more and more? So that's what I want to talk about with you guys. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say, but I'm in this space where I really, really have a lot of passion for women and men to feel confident, right? So I know to some degree, some plastic surgery might be necessary or be helpful. If someone has a flat chest and they work out, they're never going to get a big chest. So, they might need to look into breast augmentation. If someone, I can tell you another, just an example with my husband, Dave. Like, Dave has a condition with his calf where it's not innervated on the left side due to a motorcycle injury, spinal cord injury, and he cannot grow his left calf at all. No matter how much he trains, no matter how much he lifts, he will never stimulate that calf to grow. So he has actually a super flat calf on one side, and then the right calf has actually developed. That's an example where someone might over time consider, okay, maybe I'll get a calf implant because I'm never going to be able to have this thing that I want, no matter how hard I work, no matter how hard I train. So I do believe there's examples of where, yes, maybe the surgery can really help you. Maybe someone that loses a shit ton of weight and they have a whole bunch of extra skin, they're going to want to cut it off and, cinch it down and get the body that they deserve because they've been training so hard and dieting so hard and they had this discipline and they just can't help the fact that they have excess skin. That's another example. I think there's definitely examples for things that can help people who, are looking for aesthetic look. They've worked hard, they deserve it, whatever. But I also think that we're kind of shifting. Our whole trend is shifting into body dysmorphia, where it's almost like the trend is more, more, more. You need to have a bigger ass. You need to have, and you even see the trends. Like, okay, I'm 37, but I've been in this fitness space. I've been in the Instagram modeling world for over 10 years. I've watched the trends. I've watched the girls and even the girls that are on there now. And the most beautiful women, I think a lot of women are beautiful, even with their flaws. I think some of our flaws are still what makes us very beautiful. We don't have to be a Kim Kardashian perfect body to be beautiful. I'm always going to have hip dips. I'm going to have these little spaces right here when there's nothing fills it because my glutes are an actual muscle and there's no fat right there. So, that's an insecurity of mine that I could say is an imperfection, or I could just embrace it and be like, okay, there's certain angles that look good on me and there's certain angles that do not, So it's just that whole like mentality of, do we always need to fix everything? I could easily inject those parts of me and have a bigger ass. I could also have wider hips. I could have more of an hourglass shape if I really wanted to like nitpick my body and find ways to improve it. But what I'm noticing, since I'm in this space of trying to help women and men feel confident, is that it's not just about fixing everything. It's about, you go down deep into loving you have to love things about yourself. You can't hate everything about yourself. That's not going to fix the answer, is to just constantly change everything that you have. You're not going to love parts of you. You're not going to love, your flaws. You're not going to love some of your insecurities. You're not going to love some, maybe you'll love some of the more beautiful strengths that you have. Or maybe you'll just learn to like not hate that part of you. Like there's things I really don't like about myself. I have really massive traps and I always try to cover them up. I don't know if you can even see them right now, but no matter what, I don't have like a delicate, skinny little model neck that's like super tiny that looks like a little toothpick that's my head is sitting on. I've always loved women who have that. I'm not going to have that. There's no surgery you can even do to have that for me, but there's so many surgeries that women and men can do to change their body shapes, And my whole thing is like, what is that doing to our mental health? What is that doing to our perception of ourselves? What is that doing to our self-love? What is that doing to our society at whole if we're always telling society, it's this celebrity who got her butt done and her waist and everything else. That's the epitome of beauty. That's the epitome of goals. And as long as you have enough money, you can just pay for whatever body you want. I just think it's a little slippery slope. And here's why I think it's a slippery slope. It can be done. And there's actually a lot of women I've seen have their bodies done, whether it's a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, fat transfer, where they take fat from like all the inconvenient spots, like your waist and your low back fat, your thighs, and they inject it into the butt or wherever they want to put it. And it looks great. It looks natural, looks beautiful. It's like, it feels great. Like I felt girls' asses. I'm like, damn, that's like legit. But it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm just a little bit scared, guys, because I know so many beautiful women and I'm worried that we're constantly putting ourselves under this scrutiny and knife that we always have to do more. And it's a little bit scary. So I don't know if you guys have heard what's been going on, but there's been a couple of incidents with these plastic surgeries that are kind of scary. And now that I'm a mother, I've actually considered, like I said, I've considered the BBL, I've considered the fat transfer, I've looked into it, I've researched, I've watched BBL like vlogs, I've watched the whole recovery process. It is a ton of trauma to the body, guys. I mean, even my nursing background, I'm like, they're taking a needle, a liposuction, they're like up and down all over your stomach, under your back, into your thighs. They're sucking out fat. It is a major trauma surgery. And I mean, just watching it even is a little bit traumatic. But what they're doing, they're taking your fat stores out, and they're maybe injecting into your butt. So now you don't have to worry about ever gaining weight in your stomach. You always gain weight in your butt. It's the perfect location. Eat what you want, not worry about looking overweight. But dude, it's so scary what's happening. Like you're transferring, like you could literally get a blood clot. You could get a fat clot that goes up to your, like as a stroke and die. You could get a heart attack. Like there's some serious things that could go down for this makeover, right? And I don't know if you guys have heard about going on the news. I mean, there's a couple celebrities that recently passed away due to the mommy makeover. So this procedure that we're saying that we want to help women who are mothers feel better about their bodies and get their bodies back, it's risky. Like you could literally die. You could pass away. And I understand I think that the death rate's not that high, but it is high enough to consider. I mean, women that are 27, 28, 29, 30 in the early 30s are passing away from these procedures. I think one of the celebrities recently passed away. Her name was Jackie O. She was a wild and out. I didn't know her personally. I heard of her. I follow a lot of Instagram models and influencers who were really close with her. And she passed away, and she had 3 children. And it's just a terribly sad story. And I think she had children 6, 2, and 10 months. A beautiful, beautiful family. She was clearly a beautiful human. And I just really feel for the family, and I feel for everyone affected by this, because it's so scary, you know? I don't know, as women, like, I can see myself getting that done. Like, I've considered it. I've done the research, and I remember saying to myself, like, oh, if after my next baby, maybe I'll get the mommy makeover. Like, I've literally had conversations with my girlfriends about it. And some of my girlfriends too, telling me. And I'm telling you, these women are also very gorgeous, beautiful. Their bodies are great. Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with their bodies. They don't necessarily need to change them. But I do know what it's like to be a mother and go through the postpartum body process and feel less than, or feel like you're not reaching the goal that you want, or maybe you're not as tight as you used to be. You gain and retain fat in certain areas that you weren't used to before. Even after training as much as I do, I train really hard, at least once a day, if not twice a day now, to maintain my body. But I just know the pressure of feeling like you need to get back, or maybe even just feeling like you lost a part of yourself through the pregnancy process, the postpartum process, and wanting that back, like wanting to feel beautiful again, wanting to feel yourself again, wanting to have that body. You know, the hormone levels that change during pregnancy and postpartum are significant, and it really can change. And if you've had multiple babies, your hormones will definitely be different. And if as you progress and get older, same thing, your hormone changes really do significantly fluctuate and change, to the point that it's difficult to get back to that original fit body that you're used to, or maybe even just get back to a certain level that you're desiring. So I know women struggle with it. I train a lot of women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are having these different hormonal imbalances. So I get the desire. I've had it even myself to want a mommy makeover, but I'm like, dude, I mean, is that not scary that first it was breast augmentation was nothing, and now everyone's getting it done, which, by the way, is not even a significantly traumatic surgery compared to a mommy makeover, where it takes a month of recovery. Like, I don't even think you can sit up. You have to wear a corset. You have to get like lymphatic drainage massages just to move all your tissues around, so you don't like have stagnant blood flow and you don't have blood clots. And like, it's a significant surgery. Like, it is total body surgery, and it takes at least a month to recover. I don't even think you can pick up your kid or baby right away. So it's scary, man. I'm a nurse, and I have watched open heart surgeries. I've watched some seriously devastating surgeries, and this reminds me of that. Like, and we're doing this as a cosmetic procedure. So I don't know. I just want to bring this up on the table for several reasons. I understand that I personally have had body dysmorphia to the point that I've literally considered getting this done, thinking my body's not good enough. I've seen other women feel the same way. So I know that body dysmorphia is a real issue for women and men of all different ages and walks of life. Us as a society are having body dysmorphia because we think even if we're fit or we look great, it's not good enough, right? So we are not good enough. We don't look beautiful enough, fit enough, tight enough, tiny enough, wide enough. It's just this sickness that we have as a society, and it's kind of sad because I think there are fixes that we can do to help our mental health, to help our confidence, to help get some of the body goals and achievements back. But I don't know. I'm curious if plastic surgery is always the answer. And I'm curious if we're not having a slippery slope of plastic surgery addiction in our society, because we can always do more. There's always going to be a surgeon that's going to figure out something else to do with our body. They'll train for it. They'll figure out how to do it. They're going to make a significant amount of people look very attractive doing that. But it still doesn't negate the fact that we're going under major trauma. Every single time you go into one of these surgeries, you have to sign a consent form that says you could die from, and it will give you a list of complications: blood clot, stroke, heart attack, embolism, pulmonary embolism. Like, it's not insignificant, and it's not something that we shouldn't discuss. It's real trauma to the body. So I want to bring this up. I'm curious what people have to say, because BBLs are becoming very, very popular nowadays. I don't know if I wrote what the statistic for BBLs. I think they're also in the 300,000 range. But then you have to consider that there's deaths associated with them as well. There there were 12 deaths related to BBLs in South Florida from 2019 to 2022. So it's a real thing you have to worry about. And I only became recently aware of it because of social media. I don't really watch the news that much. So I don't track these statistics. I don't think anyone would even know this if we didn't bring it up. But it's kind of scary. And like with this, Miss Jackie O, I was like, wow, this beautiful woman, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's successful, she's beautiful. And it can happen to someone like her, super young. And then there's another woman I followed. Her name was Jocelyn Cano. She was a huge social media star for years. I think she had like over 12 million followers on Instagram. Beautiful woman, stunning. I think they called her like the Mexican Kim Kardashian because she always had those amazing face, perfect proportions, hourglass figure. And she was getting BBL procedures. I don't think she was advertising it so much until after the tragedy, but it came out on social media and the news that she passed away from a BBL procedure. She was getting butt injections and she'd already have several of them. I don't know how many, but to the point that she probably didn't need any more, or, from some people's perspective that she might not need it anymore, but she passed away. I think they said you're not supposed to eat or drink before the procedure, and she had food before, and she ended up sometimes you can actually, this is why they tell you don't eat or drink anything after midnight before surgery, because you can actually, when you're under anesthesia, you can actually have food come up and choke on it during the procedure, which would obviously can cause death. So in her case, I think that's what happened. And it's very tragic. It's very scary. She's super young. I think she was only like 27 or 28. She had 2 children also left behind. So it's just scary for me, guys, because these are young ages. These are beautiful women. These are untimely deaths. They're not necessarily needed. They shouldn't be happening. They're from young mothers. And I just see this trend in society for women and mothers. And I am one of these that feels the same way. I feel the pressure of society to look as fit as possible for as long as possible, to get the hourglass shape, to have the tiny waist, to have the expanded ass, like to look fucking bomb in all my clothes from every angle. Every angle has to be perfect. And it's just insane that if I feel this way and all these other women I look up to who I think are even maybe a tier or two above my perfection, and they feel like they're not perfect. So where do we draw the line? Where do we say that perfection is no longer the goal? Where do we say that we have to bring society back to embracing some of our imperfections? Where do we say that not surgery isn't always the answer, and maybe we should try a bunch of other modalities first? What if we, try diet and training first? What if we try weightlifting first? What if we try checking our hormone imbalances first? Because that's really what we got to start looking at, guys, because if we are just constantly seeking surgery, that slope will continue to go. And the next thing, what will be the next thing? I mean, we did breast augmentations, then it went to BBLs. What will the next thing be? Removing a rib in like 10 or 20 years from now? You never know how crazy it's going to get. We're breaking our noses to do nose jobs. I think people break jaws. I've even heard of people actually getting ribs removed. You never know to what level or extremeness we're going to go to next. But if it's all possible, if trauma to the body can be done in a very controlled environment, under a microscope, in the sterile conditions with the right surgeon, then they can find different ways to tweak our body. And I'll tell you right now, it is very tempting as a woman to consider these things that I might not have otherwise considered. Like I've considered getting like the fat under my arm removed, like just suction that out and take it away, because no matter how fit I am, I will always have like a little bit of like blop, whatever that is. I hate that shit. But I'm like, dude, I don't think anybody else is looking at that. Probably most of the people that I know aren't or haven't even thought about it, but I'm over here tripping out over it and wanting it done. And what am I going to teach my daughter? What if my daughter has bloop like that? What if she has that? Like I have sisters that have that. I have it. Like my mom has it. Like we all have it. So I'm just like, at what point do I need to stop criticizing myself? At what point am I done butchering myself? I mean, that's a triggering word to say, but in all honesty, that's what it is. It's trauma. We're butchering ourselves. We're tearing ourselves down. And I hope that we as society and as women can build each other up enough to be like, no, you still look beautiful. And there's other ways to get where you want to go. So back where I was saying with the hormones. So a lot of women might not know this, or maybe even men, but this is actually kind of cutting edge information and technology. There is a way to get to your goals even after you have children, postpartum, multiple children in your 30s and 40s and 50s. One of the biggest barriers to your success right now is your hormone panel and your hormone levels. Mainstream doctors are not going to tell you this. But there are doctors out there that are very good at what they do, and they are interested in checking your hormone panel. One of the first things you should be doing if you are not getting leaner, if you're trying to work out or you're trying to shed some fat, you're trying to work on some problem areas, you should be getting a hormone panel checked by a hormone doctor specialist. Your estrogen, your testosterone, and your progesterone are the three main sex hormones that will affect everything about your metabolism, especially like your fat gain and fat stores and your muscle gain and loss. Those are very specific to those three hormones. So any imbalance of those is going to prevent you from losing weight. If you get on a workout program and you're following the diet and you're training and you're not seeing results, first thing you need to do is go get those labs checked. Now, these hormone clinics will give you the information and they'll tell you what you need to be taking. They'll give you small doses of these hormones that can actually start to make results. Next thing you know, in like literally probably, I think, a week or two, you'll start to see results. You can lose like 10 pounds immediately because what was happening was when the hormone levels are off, they prevent that metabolism from breaking down that fat store. They prevent that metabolism from building up that muscle tissue. You cannot go against your hormones unless you start to play with those numbers. So this is very interesting, very strategic. And a lot of the celebrities and actors know about this. And it's like, it kind of has been hush hush, because it's like some of them are steroids and some of them are peptides and some of them are fat burners and appetite stimulants or suppressants. And, they have access. Why? Celebrities have first access to all this stuff because a lot of it, before it goes to market and before people are actually using it on a broad scale, they're very expensive and only celebrities have the money to afford them. But nowadays, I'm actually talking with a doctor right now, doctor, nurse, and people working in the hormone specialty field who've been studying this. You can affect your hormones to completely drastically shift how your body composition is looking. I'm talking if you're in your 30s, your 40s, and 50s, and next thing you know, your hormones are preventing that progress. They will give you the exact dose, a small low dose of testosterone or a low dose of one of these hormones, and it will drastically affect your results. You can get, and there's more than just those three hormones. You can get your adrenal glands checked for how that's working, your cortisol levels. That's another thing that can impact fat gain and fat loss. You can get your thyroid function checked, which doctors know this, but they're not actually often really focusing on, your thyroid levels day to day. They usually wait until things are completely out of whack and out of function before they start treating it. But you can get your thyroid levels checked at any stage of the process, and anytime you're not getting results from training or you're trying to lose weight, you can literally go to the doctor, and especially hormone specialist, and they will check your thyroid function at multiple times a day, and they can give you small doses of T3 and T4 to help with that thyroid function and bring it back into a high functioning state. So that's something you can check. You can also check your microbiome. You can check like how your gut brain health is functioning. If you have really bad gut health and you don't have the proper probiotics functioning in your gut, you're not going to communicate to your brain correctly. And a lot of people will develop like brain fog, inflammation of the stomach. You'll get bloated from all these foods that you're eating. You're not digesting. You're not absorbing correctly. Like there's so many ways to help recorrect the problems that are going on. The massive one is hormone levels checked and modified. You could do other things to tweak it too if you're actually struggling with eating too much or holding your appetite and, things like that. They have little things that you can use as well. And there's just a lot more things on the market that can be given to help with like metabolism and fat loss and muscle gains and youth and longevity that we should probably be tapping into, and be very careful to go so strict on going under the knife as much. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm just scary. These numbers, man. 12 deaths, 12 BBL deaths in the last couple years. Like that's scary, dude. And the age range of women that are getting these, they're got to be in their 20s and 30s, maybe not even older than 40. 20, 30, and 40, you're super young. You have a lot of life left to live. And you probably, if you had kids, you probably have young kids. So my whole thing is like, I feel you women. I feel your pain. If you're feeling like you've lost a sense of yourself or your body image, this is a tough this is a tough society to live in, with so many being bombarded with so many beautiful body styles, and you feel like you're competing with models, and you're competing with Instagram, you're competing with fitness models, you're competing with girls that have every plastic surgery they can desire. And I want you to know that you're still beautiful and your flaws can also be very beautiful. I think we should embrace not just our strengths, but also some of our weaknesses and be like, hell yeah, that's what I have. And you just dress it differently, right? So I cover my traps up, and If I have a little belly fat, I'm not going to get lipo. I'll just train harder and I'll get my hormones checked and things like that. But I have a soft spot for women because I know what it's like to not feel yourself. I felt like I went into a little bit of postpartum depression after having Aria. I was the biggest I'd ever been, but I gained 40 pounds with my pregnancy, and it took a while for some of it to fall off. And I was training hard, and there's just a lot of pressure to be a mom that can also not lose herself. Like, I want to feel like I'm providing for my child. I'm breastfeeding her and I'm spending time with her, and I'm also going to the gym and I'm taking care of my body, and I feel like I'm starting to get myself back. So I know what it's like to have all those pressures, and I can only imagine for women, because I've had a lot of clients that have multiple children. They come back to me and they're trying to get their, from their postpartum body back to their original, body, and I've helped them. I've absolutely helped them. So I want women to know that it can be done, and to embrace some of your flaws. I mean, if there's things you want to work on, there's strategically things that we can absolutely work on to get to some of your body goals. And I'll help you. I'll help you through diet and training. I'll help you through hormone level checked. I'll help you get the right peptides and hormones you need so you can actually be successful and stop feeling like 2 weeks in and no results are coming because your hormones are blocking all that results. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just very interested to hear what people's feedback are, because even some of the women in my life have all talked to me and they toy around. Should I get a BBL? Should I get butt injections? They look so good. They last so long. I don't have to worry about, training as hard, and I don't have to worry about like what I eat as much, because, they'll just they'll just take the fat and suck it right out of my stomach. So I'll always have 24/7 abs. Like, I get it. The temptation is there. Even as a trainer, I feel the temptation. But what I will say about this whole thing too, not just the trauma, not just the fact that you could literally pass away on the table, but some of these people that are getting these procedures done are now being scam artists, in my opinion. Like, if I'm in the fitness space and I get a BBL, I need to tell my followers that happened. Like, that's just not right for me to be like, oh yeah, train with me, join Lauren Drain's program and get a booty. And then I'm over here with like this fat injected ass. Like, that makes no sense. So I've said I've been tempted, but I have not done it for many reasons. And I see women that have done it and they look amazing. Don't get me wrong. You look freaking bomb, girl. Go ahead. And if you feel great, go ahead. But I'm not judging people that do it. I think it's awesome. They look great and they probably feel amazing. But don't be telling people that that's how you got your ass. Don't be telling people, oh, I just train in the gym. Oh, come train with me. Oh, come wear my clothes because, I look so amazing. It's like, dude, just tell people you did it. I mean, I've told people about my breast augmentation. I've shared with people that I've had like my scars taken off. I had like precancerous moles on my stomach. I've had them all taken off and I've posted about it. Almost everything I've had done, I've posted. If I've had fillers done, I post about it. Lip procedures, I had my lips tattooed recently, I post about it. Just be transparent. My whole thing is transparency because, I mean, people really want that too. And I still follow girls that have had the BBL procedures and they look phenomenal. And I'm just like, girl, go ahead. You look freaking great. I love you still. I loved you before. I love you now. But low key, that's not how you got that ass, sweetheart. We know. And you probably still squat and you probably still train and you probably have nice glutes underneath there, but you also got what you got. So give us your surgeon's number for all those girls that want it and hook us up, hook a girl up. Yeah, so that's just something I wanted to share with you guys because I want you all to know that body dysmorphia is such a real thing in society. And even if you feel like you have a lot of imperfections or you hate your body, I want you to know that I'm going through it. I know a lot of girls in this modeling world are going through it, Instagram modeling. Some of the top fitness models, celebrity types are also going through this because we live in such a high pressure culture of more plastic surgery. We're competing with impossible odds, it feels like. And I think what some of us do is try for more instead of sometimes less. Or try for a balance. Like maybe if we could try for a balance, like, yeah, maybe get like your lips done and your cheeks done, but maybe don't like nip and tuck everything on your body, and love parts of your body and love some of your imperfections, or maybe like do things to modify them in a healthy way and see if you can get a little with diet and training, maybe a little with hormones. But yeah, let's just be careful because this knife trend is really starting to scare me. And I wonder, how's that going to affect my daughter's generation? Is she going to feel the need to get everything done? If I get everything done, if I get a mommy makeover, and I'm not saying I haven't considered it, I'm not even saying I never would, but what is that going to do to her? Okay, Aria, when you have kids, you have to get your shit nip tucked. Otherwise, you're not going to look as good as mommy. And mommy really cares about how mommy looks. And so I don't know, man. It's just, it makes you think. It makes you pause for a minute and think. But I feel the pain of the women that are feeling insecure. I also feel the pain of people who are like, what the hell? This is super scary and a little bit traumatic. And when people pass away, it should give us a second to pause and really consider what's going on here. Where are we at on time, Amber?
You have 35 minutes in the recording.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was some of the stuff I wanted to talk to you guys about. I don't know if I have much more to talk about with plastic surgery. Did I tell you the 3 people? I told you about the 2 people that passed away that really affected me. I actually have several friends who've been affected by the silicone that is injected. I've had a friend that's had like their breast augmentation removed that felt like she was having leaking of her silicone into her body. And, there's like the whole sickness you can develop from the silicone. And then I've had another friend who recently had, I think it was silicone butt injections removed. It was like 3 pounds of product removed out of her booty, and she still looks amazing. She's phenomenal. She's gorgeous. But I'm wondering, like, what's going to happen in the next like 10 years of all this things happening to us, and are we going to see a trend of like us removing a lot of stuff, and how's that going to start to look? I don't know. It's a lot to think about and it's a lot to digest, but I do think body dysmorphia is a real issue, and it's in so many different capacities. It's also, I have it from fitness competing. The days that I competed, it was a huge bucket list to go on stage. I constantly, as a fitness competitor, and every fitness competitor I've ever talked with, even if you've only done one show, you guys know what I'm talking about. You look at yourself like, why don't I look like the shredded girl that I was on stage during peak week? Which is impossible to achieve. It's peak week, which means there's only 1 week out of the whole training you can achieve that body because you're at the perfect amount of carbs. You're super low carb. You're dehydrated. The coach took your water away. He took all of your carbs away. He took all these things, and this is the only time you're going to look like that one day or that 1 week. So, and then we have it in our heads that we're supposed to look like that all the time. Like in my head, my best shape is 26-inch waist. That is the tiniest and most shredded I've ever gotten. I was down to 118 pounds. I don't even know that I looked healthy. You could see my rib cage. I had abs and I was lean. I think I was like 12% body fat, but I'm not going to maintain that. That's impossible for my body to maintain. So I have in my head now body dysmorphia that if I don't look like that, I'm not perfect and I'm not good enough and I can get smaller and whatever. So I really know that can come from that atmosphere. It can come from being bullied when you're growing up as a teenager. It can come from your own insecurities, societal pressures. If you grow up around really hot friends or a hot sister or like anything really can come from just developing these insecurities that you're not good enough. So I know our society, women are dealing with it a lot. You can develop it from postpartum and you want your body to look like it did before baby. And sometimes that's not possible. Maybe you have loose skin. I have a little bit of loose skin on my stomach that I'll always have no matter what. And I'll always be able to like pinch it and like it'll go over if I bend over, So I think women need to understand that we're all going through this. And I want women to understand that you're not alone and you don't necessarily have to go to every extreme. If you're feeling like you want to try it out, do lots and lots of research, figure out what risks you're getting involved in, think about the long-term haul of what's happening, and just find out what really would be your source of happiness in that. Because I can see myself getting something like the BBL or the mommy makeover done, but then I can also see how a lot of the cons. Like I would hate being bedridden for 4 weeks. I would hate not being able to pick up my daughter. I would hate wearing those disgusting corsets for 4 to 6 weeks, or I think you even have to wear it longer than that. Like, bless your heart if you've had a mommy makeover. Bless your heart if you've had these, because that's a lot of dedication to recovering in a certain way and following all the procedures of the doctor. You got to follow everything. You got to get the lymphatic drainages. They're like painful massages pushing your blood from like getting swollen in certain areas. Like it's you have to be dedicated to that, and you have to recover appropriately, take the right medications and everything, make sure you don't get infections. So I don't know, man. That's even as a nurse, I'm like, damn, that's kind of a lot. It's kind of scary. So yeah, I told you guys about that. But basically with the plastic surgery, I do think it can be a slippery slope. But I also enjoy a lot of the things that are out there. I mean, I do enjoy the fact that we have Botox, to keep away all the wrinkles. And we have all these laser facials to keep our skin feeling nice and tight and shiny. And, they got like PRP. It's like the vampire facial where you can like inject, I think they take your blood plasma, they put it in a centrifuge, all the plasma rises to the top, they inject that, and then they put it into different parts of your skin. So I actually had that done recently, and they did it in my neck, and it's supposed to improve like blood flow. It's supposed to like significantly reduce like wrinkles. So like I had it on my neck. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've had these procedures done, and I will say I feel grateful that there are things to be done to like keep you like feeling young and healthy and beautiful, but I also worry about certain things, I don't know. I worry for us women. We are so hard on ourselves, and we never think that we're good enough. And it's funny. I see other women and I see their beauty even in their flaws, like a lot of the time. Like, and I realize that that's sometimes the balance that I like in people is that they're not perfect. Like they'll have a great smile or maybe like whatever, but I don't know. I see beauty in so many different shapes and sizes and different flaws that I think we can try to like cultivate that more if we can. Instead of just always perfection, maybe more like progress, but not perfection. Like progress in some ways, but not perfect, because perfect is just so unattainable. And it's self-destructive, I think, to our mental state. Because then like what's going to happen? We're all going to age at some point. We're all going to be like slightly less young, slightly less vibrant, slightly less perfect. If we have babies, our boobies are looking different. Like things are happening and changing. So I feel like in order to age gracefully, mentally, you have to like love parts of the stages. You have to love certain parts of the imperfections. And yeah, I'm trying to learn that myself, but I hope to be a good example in that. And I hope to have a balance, figure out a way to strike a balance for myself that'll be healthy for my mental state and healthy for my daughter's mental state, and anyone else that follows me that is looking for, a boost in their self-confidence, but to not feel like, oh, wow, I have to be that freaking perfect to feel good. Like that's a lot of pressure. So yeah, I hope you guys will tune in. Check out my Instagram if you haven't already, at Lauren Jane Fit. I talk about all of my health and fitness tips on there. I run challenges every 8 weeks on the Instagram. Basically, you guys are going to get in insane shape with me. I have my fitness app on there, Progress by Lauren Jane. We have meals and recipes. I have hundreds and hundreds of recipes on there for you guys to choose from. You get to track your macros right inside of the app. So you can scan barcodes and like track super easy. Scan any barcode and you'll easily know what you have eaten for the day. I do one-on-one meal training. I guys have video tutorials of all the workouts on there. So I'm very passionate about being healthy and fit. I'm very passionate about getting that body confidence that you deserve to the most of your abilities. And, it's a passion of mine. I think you guys would really love it if you haven't already joined the community. And I'm adding this new tier of information that I think is going to be super helpful. I've known about it for a really long time. The hormone replacement can be super essential to pushing yourself past that last thing that you just can't quite get, right? Like, let's say you did work out or you did train or you did eat healthy and you noticed for like several weeks, your body wasn't changing at all. Like you're not seeing changes in your pictures. You're super discouraged and you're like, what the hell? I signed up for this program. I got all these meals. I prepped all this stuff. What is happening? And it's very frustrating. I've seen this time and time, year after year. Thousands and thousands of clients have this issue. So with this new tier of information, I'm going to be helping you guys literally get to that last 10 to 20 pounds that you're looking for, because what's happening is your hormone levels are at a standstill. They are wherever your hormone levels are at, they're not budging, and your testosterone's off. It's probably significantly way too low. Your estrogen and progesterone are off. Your estrogen might be too high. A lot of women struggle with this after pregnancy, postpartum, having multiple kids, and as we age, all of our levels start to change, and even into menopausal area. But there is a cure. There is a treatment for all of this. You actually can look at the labs. You go and you get your labs checked at like Quest Diagnostics. You do a full panel. You have the doctor read your results to you, and you get to see what you need to be taking. And this is the essential last part of the equation that most people miss, and that I have not been able to provide for my clients before, even though I've known it. I've always told my clients, you guys know, a bunch of you guys have already done many of my challenges, and you come back and you're like, yes, Lauren always tells us we need to get our hormones checked, but I'm actually going to partner with a doctor that's actually doing this So you guys can have a direct line to a telemedicine, like be able to, Zoom call to the telemedicine doctor, do a whole consult, get your labs checked, check your panel, see what's wrong, see what's off, and then get shipped to you directly what you need. Whether it's a pill or an injection, anything, you're going to get peptides, you're going to get hormone replacement, you're going to get, if you need appetite suppressants, whatever you need to really help that last little bit of what's preventing you from actually getting to results, I'll be able to partner and package that whole thing together. So this is going to be super exciting for you guys because I know that people have gone through this process before where they've tried diets, they've tried training, they don't get results. It's super frustrating. And they're like, what the hell? They don't know what to do. They feel super discouraged. They feel down on themselves. And then they give up on the whole thing. They're like, why would I even waste my time and energy and money on something that's not going to do me any good? And I'm not even going to feel better afterwards. So I want to present this as a whole package. I want to help everyone out there who's ever struggled with body image and who's felt not confident, or maybe you're stuck in a place where you don't feel really good about your body and you don't even know what to do about it. I want to be that person that can help you. And I want to be able to be that person that can also help you see what's going on internally with your body. Getting your lab checks is a great thing anyways. It's a great way to check where everything's at. See where your adrenals look. How's your cortisol levels looking? How does your thyroid look? How do your chemistries coming about? And also, when you do this whole lab check, you also can find other things. If you needed to get a health screening on something nice and quick, you can get a jump start on that as well. So it's very exciting. I always geek out on science. I always geek out on how can we be more effective at preventative healthcare? How can we be more effective at finding out how to make the body function the highest for us? Right? You want the highest energy levels. You want the best sleep. You want your body to metabolism be functioning as fast as possible. You want to burn fat better. You want to build muscle better. You want to retain muscle better. You want to have, just a good quality of life. You want to maintain and develop and sustain that vitality. And so this is a passion of mine. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I was actually going to become a naturopathic doctor. I had this passion right after nursing, actually, and I transitioned into health and wellness. I was like, I want people to know what their labs are. I want people to know what their hormones are supposed to be. I want them to know what natural remedies can actually help them, because I don't want people to get stuck on medications. I don't want people to feel like they're going to transition to like living on 12 plus meds and, needing surgery as the only option for certain, disease processes. But I looked at the schooling. It was 4 years. There was a 3-year waiting list. So that's like 7 years right there. This particular school that I was very fascinated with was also like, you can't work a job. So you're going to be like all school for 4 years and it's going to be a big old thing. And I was just like, oh man, my patience level is not going to work with that. And, if you told me I can sign up tomorrow and maybe like make a little money on the side, I'd be all in. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But I have since partnered with a lot of naturopathic doctors. I love learning from them. I'd love to have one on the show at some point in the future, and I'm sure I will. But I really, truly believe that the naturopathic side of things is where we're headed and what's really going to keep our vitality as long as possible. So yeah, I'm excited to talk more about these things with you guys in the future. So please stay tuned to my Instagram, Lauren Drain Fit. Please take a look at my website, and I always run the fitness challenges on there. And stay tuned because I will be announcing this partnership with this hormone doctor and their specialist team. It's going to be super exciting. It's going to help so many different people, men and women. Men also need help with their hormones, and this is something I talked about in a couple of the other podcasts. I highly recommend when any of my friends come to me and they're like, Lauren, what should I do? I always tell them, get your labs checked, go to your hormone specialist, talk to your doctor. And the thing most of them have to do is go to actual hormone clinic. I'm going to be partnering with someone that you can talk to online. So from the comfort of your own home, you can get checked, and you can go to a local Quest Diagnostic and get those labs checked as well. So it's super exciting, guys. I'm actually really stoked about this partnership, and I'm really stoked about taking everyone's fitness and health and body confidence to the next level and really helping the people that are stuck. Some people really are stuck. They haven't made progress in a long time. They feel like maybe they're not meant to look a certain way, or they're not meant to feel a certain way, and that's just simply not true. A lot of times it has nothing to do with your abilities or your discipline. It has everything to do with how fucked up your hormones are. It really does. How fucked up your hormones are, maybe how slow your thyroid is functioning, how fucked up your adrenal glands are. These things that we kind of abuse throughout our lives, but we forget that we have to check on them, and we forget that we have to cleanse them, and that can be done. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope for anyone who's struggling out there with body image issues but wants to take things naturally to the next level. I am all about it, and I hope it can help you guys. So Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Please comment any of the things you liked hearing about on this show or anything else you'd like to hear about in the future. And if you have any other special guests that you think would be amazing, please comment on my YouTube or my Instagram and tell me who you want to see, because I do have guest speakers on here often in the health and wellness space, also in the mental health space too. So give me your best shot, guys. Tell me who you want to hear from. Tell me what topics you're interested in, and we'll fire away and get them back to you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.